Lira Venn's hands shook as she pressed through the thick, dew-soaked grass at Gildenwood's border. Yesterday, there'd only been a quiet meadow. Now, a towering emerald forest sprawled where the rolling land once met the sky. The air pulsed with life, strange scents, hidden twitters, sweet light drifting like motes through the canopy. Lyra's pulse hammered in her ears, and not just from awe. Something in her bones screamed, this was wrong. Behind her, armored soldiers eyed the gloom with naked suspicion. "How much deeper, botanist?" growled Captain Mara, shifting uneasily. "The king wants answers by dusk." "We're close." Lira forced a steady breath and pushed forward. Her linen satchel rattled with vials, inks, and knives. Each step damp moss squished underfoot, and she swore roots curled at her ankles with intent. She stopped when her lamp reflected a shimmer ahead. An ancient oak taller than any castle marked the heart of the anomaly. Its bark was gnarled and silvered, riddled with lines glowing faintly green, markings too distinct for natural formation. An intricate sigil pulsed at its core, a spiraling design older than any book in the royal library. "Spirits take me," muttered Mara. "What is that?" Lira stepped closer, breath fogging the luminous surface. The sigil thrummed beneath her fingers, heat prickling her skin. The air blurred, thick with scent of lilac and ozone. She barely heard the startled shouts behind her, soldiers struggling as vines snaked up their legs, the entire forest seeming to lean in, aware. "Don't touch it," Mara warned, but Lira couldn't help herself. Her fingertips brushed the center of the glowing spiral. A cold jolt shot through her. The woods fell silent, all rustle and bird call gone in an instant. The sigil flared, blinding. She staggered back, gasping. Where her hand had been, a green afterglow lingered on her palm. "You've done it now," came a mocking voice from the shadows. Out of a tangle of flowering thorns stepped a lanky, wiry young man, ratty clothes, quick eyes. "Woke up the whole forest. Good job, Leaf Mage." Lira spun, heart hammering. "Who are you?" He grinned, a thief's grin. "Call me Fen. If you want out alive, best stick with me." Mara snarled, sword raised. "Back, blight scum!" But Lira barely heard. Around her, the forest edges rippled, every tree alive with watching, whispering shapes. From the oak came a low, thrumming voice that seemed to echo in her veins. "The guardian wakes. Balance must be restored." Lira met Fen's eyes, fear and wonder warring in her chest. The adventure had begun, and she suspected nothing in Gildenwood would be the same again. Night bled into the enchanted forest, shrouding every bush and bough in restless haze. Lira, her palm still gleaming faintly, ran clumsily beside Fen as they fled the grasping roots. Captain Mara's torch bobbed behind them, grim resolve shadowing her scarred jaw. Everywhere, whispers, like a crowd holding its breath. "Wait!" Lira gasped, sidestepping a pool of phosphorescent toadstools. "What have I done?" Fen ducked under a branch, grinning. "Whatever you did, it's not just you in trouble. That glow on your hand, it's a beacon. You called the old magic, you can bet something will answer." "You're not helping," Mara barked. "If you're with the forest thieves, you'll hang." "I'm with whoever survives," Fen shot back. "And tonight, that's us. Come on." They crashed into a small clearing, moonlight sharp, the air heavy with green musk. Lyra's lamp flickered, then fizzled, swallowed by the unnatural foliage. Her sigil palm throbbed, guiding her gaze to a glimmer in the grass, a tiny winged creature, tangled in thorns. "Pixies aren't real," Mara started, blade half raised. "Wrong." The creature sat up and glowered. "Call me Pixie again, and I'll turn your hair to moss." It sprang free, dusting itself off with indignant glances. Its skin was bright teal, hair a mane of soft petals, eyes crackling gold. "Name's Cricket. It's my home you've stomped through. Don't blame me when the guardians come knocking." Lira sank to her knees, cradling her still glowing hand. "Guardians? Spirits? What do you mean?" Cricket shook their head. "The Verdant Guardians kept the wild magic in check, until humans started carving away the old woods, breaking the pacts. See that sigil? You've woken their anchor. They're not so forgiving." At that, Mara cursed. "Then we fix this. We warn the king. We burn the trees if we must." "No fire," Fen snapped, surprisingly fierce. "Fire's why they hate us. There has to be another way." Suddenly, a guttural roar shook the earth. All three whirled as the ground split, roots churning, a wolf the size of a horse, moss and flowers tangled in its fur, eyes like twin lanterns. It circled with purpose, every breath seething the air with wild magic. Cricket yelped, darting behind Fen. Mara held her sword steady, unflinching. Lyra's heart hammered. Everything in her life, learning, tending, obeying, felt so small. "Steady," Mara murmured. "I've fought worse." Fen grinned, drawing a pair of curved daggers. "Time to prove it." Lira, torn between terror and awe, felt her hand pulse with warmth. The sigil wanted to help. In the beast's shadow, she made her choice. She stepped forward, voice wavering, but clear in the moonlit hush. "We come in peace. I seek to restore balance." The wolf paused, eyes meeting hers. The night waited, tense and trembling, for its verdict. The wolf's eyes, beacons in the dark, locked onto Lira. For a heartbeat, the world stilled. The creature sniffed the air, then lowered its massive head to her level, exhaling a gust of wind that smelled of earth after rain. Lira fought the urge to recoil, her palm tingling with stored magic. Captain Mara's grip on her sword tightened. Fen hovered at her shoulder, daggers ready. Cricket, wings fluttering, muttered, "Don't blink, they sense fear." With a noise halfway between a growl and a sigh, the wolf spoke, not with words but with feeling, a deep voice pressing against Lira's mind. "Seek the heart, heal the wound, before the dark seed takes root." Lira gasped. The visions came fast and wild, signal fires in the ancient woods, screaming trees, a shadow stretching over the land as wild magic twisted and curdled. Then an image, a worn stone arch draped in vines, light shimmering beyond. The vision faded, leaving her dizzy and shaking. I saw it," she whispered. "A gateway, hidden in the forest. We have to find it." Mara eyed her warily. "More fey riddles? I trust a wolf's word over a thief's." Fen shrugged. "Mystic visions beat getting eaten. Lead on, Leaf Mage." Cricket zipped forward, their snark dropped for once. "That arch is real. Old magic flows through, but not even the guardians dare approach it now." The wolf padded back, melting into mist before their eyes. Lira staggered, Fen steadying her with a firm grip. "You all right?" "I'm not sure," Lira breathed, "but I know what we have to do." Their hurried progress deeper into the forest was marked by shadows flickering just out of reach. Foxes with antlers, vines coiling to paint odd runes in their path, distant hoots and the clang of swords echoing on unseen wind. Each new sign left Lira more certain the world was watching. At last, they broke into a sunken glen where earth gave way to a stone passage, half swallowed by roots. Ancient carvings adorned its archway, twining leaves that glowed with whispers of green. Fen whistled low. "So it exists." Cricket hovered overhead. "Tread carefully. This place remembers every footfall. They say a shapeshifter was exiled here long ago for trespass." As if summoned, a low, rich voice murmured from beneath the roots. "She still remembers." A silhouette, tall, armored in wild bark and fur, eyes shifting like pools of mercury, stepped free. "You come with the sigil's touch, yet you seek what only pain will give." Mara bristled, but Lira took a shaky step forward. "You are the exile?" The figure nodded, eyes narrowing. "I am called Sonai. Why do you disturb the wound of the world?" Lira looked at Fen, then the rest, her voice stronger, steadier. "Because this wound will swallow us all if we don't heal it. Please, will you help us?" A tense silence. Then Sonai nodded, sorrow and hope tangled in her gaze. "If the forest has chosen you, so be it. But beware, some wounds bite back." The unlikely band, botanist, thief, sprite, and exile, crossed the threshold together, each step steeped in ancient watching magic. The stone passage sucked the warmth from the air. Lira's fingers trembled on the mossy walls, her sigil hand aglow in the gloom. Behind her, Mara's plated boots scraped, Fen shadowed every step, and Sonai's stride made the roots pull back respectfully. Cricket's lime-green light danced along the ceiling, illuminating carvings, scenes of humans and spirits entwined in an uneasy dance. "I don't like it," Fen whispered. "Doesn't feel right." Sonai's stare cut him into silence. "This is a place of secrets. Speak softly." As if on cue, distant laughter ricocheted down the tunnel. Cricket darted closer. "Fey games. We're not alone." A shaft of watery light led them into an underground rotunda where emerald vines draped from the dome, pulsing with heartbeats that weren't their own. At its center, a circle of toadstools glowed blue and silver. The group barely crossed the threshold before specters coalesced from the mist, ghostly, root-wrapped, faces shifting between beast and human. Their leader, a sly-eyed woman clad in petals, eyes spectral violet, glided forward. "Travelers, how rare," she purred. "Seeking secrets, or simply lost?" "The wound in the forest," Lira said firmly. "We want to mend it." The woman's lips curled. "Such noble intent, and yet you wear the sigil's curse. Do you know what you carry?" Mara stepped protectively in front. If you know something, speak. The Fey woman circled the group, trailing fingers of smoke. Wild magic once flowed free, balanced by kinship, until human greed chained it for kings and conquest. The sigil was meant to heal, a pact, but when the last pact broke, a blight was born. Sonai's voice was thick with pain. The exile was punishment, but also protection. If the wound is not healed, the blight will spread, and only the forest will remain. Cricket piped up, wings trembling. How do we fix it? The ghosts hissed and glimmered. The Fey woman smiled sadly. Find the heartvine beneath the forgotten well, guarded by the first beast. Sing the old words and perhaps wild magic will listen. Fail, and all will be unrooted. Fen groaned. Beasts' riddles singing? Could be worse. Lyra touched his shoulder, drawing comfort from the group's presence. For the first time she felt something inside, hope maybe, even in this strange place. We'll find the heartvine, together. The specters watched, their eyes like storms. As the party turned deeper into the unknown, Sonai's quiet words lingered. Remember, what you seek is not always what you want. Beyond the rotunda, a tunnel yawned open, the air pulsing with the promise and peril of wild, unbridled magic. Darkness pressed against their backs as the quartet edged into a winding, root-choked tunnel. Lyra's hand lit their way, her pulse echoing the glowing veins across her skin. She tried not to look at the shifting shadows, the faces flickering just out of sight. Are we close? Fen whispered, voice thin. Cricket pointed with a trembling petal. Heartvine grows where water dreams, but no sun answers. That means down. Always down. Mara snorted. Your riddles get us killed, Sprite. But there was worry in her eyes. Sonai touched the wall, her fingers melting briefly into bark. These roots, old as memory, they'll guide us if we listen. They followed twisting roots that hummed beneath their feet, the air thick with underground bloom. Faint green glow flickered ahead, accompanied by a chorus of distant, mournful groans. Fen darted ahead, making for a break in the rock. Look! He dropped to a crawl, vanishing into a fissure. Lyra hesitated, heart thundering, then followed. Mara and Sonai came after, Cricket clinging to Lyra's hair for light. They squeezed through, falling into a vast chamber lit by columns of bioluminescent moss. In the center, a well gaped like a black maw, its stone rim snared by tangled emerald. Something ancient lurked here, the heartvine. But from the shadows stirred a nightmare, the first beast. It rose, antlered and armored in living wood, thick with muscle and bramble. Its eyes held the wisdom and rage of centuries. Each step shook the ground. Mara stepped forward, sword drawn but low. Sonai whispered, "Show respect. This one remembers every broken oath." Lyra found herself trembling. "We come to heal what was broken. Please, let us try." A guttural growl rolled through the chamber. Roots lashed around Fen's ankles, hauling him upward. He choked back panic. Cricket zipped to his side, trying to chew the roots with tiny teeth. The beast's voice rumbled, ancient and wild. Why should the forest trust again when trust is always betrayed? Lyra's voice shook. Because I want to learn. We're not all destroyers. We need your help to change. The sigil blazed in her palm, brighter than ever. She locked eyes with the beast and sang. It was clumsy, halting, a half-remembered melody from old Gildenwood lullabies. Sonai added her voice, deep and sorrowful, weaving words of forgiveness in a language of leaves. The beast stilled. The chamber trembled as the heartvine's flowers unfolded, petals shimmering with dew. The roots released Fen, who tumbled gracelessly but safe. Light flowed from Lyra's hand into the well, stirring the water below. As the final note faded, the first beast bowed its head. The forest listens. Take the vine, but beware, healing breaks as easily as it binds. Lyra knelt, carefully snipping a single thread of glowing heartvine. For a fleeting moment, she felt the wild magic whirl inside her, filling her with courage and a hint of dread for the trials to come. They left the chamber as allies, the heartvine in hand, but behind them shadows slithered, and the faintest echo of mocking laughter hinted that trickster Fey watched, waiting for one misstep. They retraced their steps through the winding tunnels, Lyra sheltering the glowing heartvine in her satchel. The vine curled gently around her wrist, pulsing to the rhythm of her heartbeat and lending her a jangling courage she'd never felt before. The others, emboldened but wary, pressed close. Still, the walls seemed to breathe, shadows twitching at the corners of their vision. Cricket hovered near Lyra's ear, voice pitched low. You did well, Leaf Mage, but Fey bargains are rarely so simple. Fen scoffed, dusting moss from his shirt. Right? Next step, find the source of the blight, heal the rift, and not get eaten. Easy. Sonai's eyes narrowed. We're not safe yet. Tricksters know our purpose now. They're drawn to places where hope grows. Emerging from the tunnel, they found themselves beneath a sky bruised purple and midnight blue, dawn yet to touch the horizon. The enchanted forest shifted restlessly, leaves whispering warnings. Mara paused, scanning the shadows. What do these trickster fae want from us? A branch creaked overhead. Before anyone could react, a figure plummeted down, scattering leaves, a tall thin man with bark for skin and mischievous green eyes. Clever question, he crowed. Another flicker. Now a fleet-footed fox, now a swarm of birds, finally a grinning child. The shape kept shifting. Fae magic, wild and unpredictable. We want stories, secrets, and anything you'd give away without knowing. Care to bargain? Sonai stepped forward, voice like ice over steel. We bargain only for peace. The trickster pouted, circling the group. So dull, exile, but the wound you seek lies behind the sunken door. You'll not open it with force or steel. Only the right heart may turn the key. Cricket hissed. Don't trust him. But Lira, staring at the heart vine aglow on her hand, understood. You want to test us. You want to see if we're greedy, like those who broke the pacts. The fae grinned wildly. Maybe, or maybe I just like a good riddle. Solve this and the sunken door is yours. What grows only when it's broken and binds this earth to sky? Mara muttered curses. Fen frowned. Cricket fluttered, baffled. Lira bent, cradling the vine, heart racing. A promise, she whispered, voice sure. The trickster's eyes danced. Sharp one. A promise once broken can split worlds. Kept, it weaves them together. He snapped his fingers. The ground yawned open, and in the roots, an ancient door, heavy with moss and sealed by twisting runes. Say the promise that binds you here, ordered the trickster. It cannot be a lie. Lira swallowed, feeling the weight of all Gildenwood. I promise to heal the wound between humankind and the wild magic. I will not use it for power or profit, but for balance, for both worlds. Light arced from her sigil, threading through the heartvine, the roots uncurled. The sunken door groaned and swung open, revealing a path lined with ancient thorns and weeping willows. The trickster bowed with a wink. Onward, champions, but beware, the closer to the wound, the sharper the thorns. Together, hearts tight with resolve and fear, the band marched into the unknown, while the forest watched, silent and expectant. The sunken door creaked shut behind them with the finality of a tomb. The forest on this side was older still, trees twisted by sorrow, air sharp with chill. The path weaved through willows and thorned brambles, patches of midnight blooming petals pulsing with strange life. Shadows thickened with every step. Lira took the lead, the heartvine a soft guiding beacon. Each footfall stirred silent spirits. Branches brushed their shoulders, and now and then a cracked voice whispered hints of bitter loss or envy. The silence pressed heavy and strange. Fen clutched his daggers. Anyone else feel like we're walking straight into a mouth that's waiting to shut? Cricket zipped close, unusually subdued. This is the scarred glen. They say no song grows here, not for centuries. Sonai's gaze tracked every movement. The wound is close, you'll know it. Suddenly, a bitter wind swept the glen. The trees shuddered, parting to reveal a hollow surrounded by heaps of petrified roots. In the very center, a jagged fissure in the earth, slick with tar-black sap that steamed with toxic magic. Around the fissure, wild magic churned visibly in the air, twisting plant and spirit alike into vague, wretched forms. Mara drew her blade, but Lira stopped her. Violence won't heal this. From the roiling pit emerged a phantom, part plant, part human, a harrowed echo of a guardian. Its eyes, dead white, fixed on Lira, voice scraping like dead leaves. You who woke us, what do you offer the wound that was wrought by your kind? Lira's voice cracked but didn't falter. I bring the heartvine and a promise to restore harmony between our worlds. The phantom's aura billowed, sorrow and rage spilling from it. Will you bear the wound if it cannot be mended? Will you pay the price? Lira looked to her companions. Fen, with hope he tried to hide. Mara, fierce and ready. Sonai, ashamed but unyielding. Even Cricket, trembling with fear yet still here. I will. Not alone, but with my friends. The fissure yawned wider. A voice from below, low as thunder. Then prove it. Enter the rift. Without hesitation, Lira stepped forward. Fen cursed but followed, Mara at her side, Sonai a silent shadow, and Cricket pressed to her shoulder. The rift swallowed them in green-black fire, blinding and cold. They plummeted, senses overwhelmed by wild flashes, broken vows, battles lost, forests burning, spirits dying. Through it all, Lira clung to the heartvine and her promise, the only real thing in a storm of memories not her own. When they landed, battered, dazed, they found themselves in a realm of tangled roots, floating islands, and drifting lights. No sky, no ground, just an impossible expanse where wild magic writhed, beautiful and terrifying. Together they stood, breathless, at the heart of the wound. Lira's promise and their unity would determine if they could heal a rift hundreds of years deep. The true test finally had begun. Lira stared at the shifting realm, the heart of the wound. Color and shadow swirled in impossible shapes, roots stretched between drifting islands, binding nothing yet holding everything in place. The press of ancient grief and anger weighed on them all, yet the heartvine's gentle glow steadied her trembling fingers. Fen eyed the floating expanse nervously. So how do you heal something you can't even touch? Sonai knelt, palm pressed to a translucent root. With honesty, magic can't mask what's broken, we must face it. A chorus of voices echoed, as if from the realm itself. Speak, Oathbreaker, speak thief, speak outcast, speak coward, what will you give for wholeness? Cricket quaked but spoke first, voice small. I give my song, let joy return to this place, even if I never leave. Fen hesitated, eyes darting. I give my freedom. If it means peace, chain me to the wild forever, I won't run. Mara stepped up, face hard with regret. I give forgiveness to my clan and myself. I'll bear exile if it means balance. Sonai's eyes glistened, sorrow and resilience entwined. I give what I am. I'll guide lost spirits and live as guardian, neither human nor wild if the rift can heal. All eyes turned to Lira. She let the heartvine wrap her wrist, feeling its warmth in her pulse. I give my knowledge, every day yet to come. I won't use magic to control, but to listen and to mend, no matter the cost to me. The drifting lights coalesced into images. Children laughing under old Gildenwood trees, fae and folk side by side, then the same woods burning. Betrayal, fear, and grief, cycling through centuries in a heartbeat. Suddenly, a shadow surged from the roots, a shape made of thorns, sorrow wielded, oaths twisted into hate. It lashed at the party, pain and denial screaming with every strike. Fen and Mara met it blade to shadow. Sonai, shifting form, shielded Cricket, who sang a trembling, quivering note that seemed to soften the realm's edges. Lira faced the shadow directly, sigil burning. We are not those who broke the pact. Let us try again. The shadow hesitated, writhing, torn. Lira thrust the heartvine forward. Its light struck the darkness, revealing faces within, old guardians, lost friends, even glimpses of her own ancestors. The wound seethed, unsure. Cricket's melody rose, joined by Fen's ragged chant, Mara's calm voice, Sonai's deep harmony, and, strongest of all, Lira's pledge. We mend together, or not at all. The wild magic flared, tearing the wound wider in a final desperate resistance. But Lira and her companions held fast. Though battered and afraid, their unity shone brighter than rage or regret. Slowly the shadow faltered. Yet deep within, something older and cleverer waited. The true heart of the wound was not just pain, but a lurking will determined to preserve the rift no matter what. The real battle, no longer just with magic, but with the cunning force behind the blight, was about to begin. The realm trembled around them, the luminous heartvine's glow fighting a deepening cold. Lira's breath steamed in the air, the biting chill not from wind but from wild malice. A will old and patient, born when the first pact was broken. From the torn rift stepped a figure draped in rags of shadow and petals, its face shifting between human and beast, ever morphing. Its many eyes simmered with grief and cunning. Fools, it hissed, voice echoing with 1,000 regrets. This magic is not merely broken, it has learned to hunger. Would you dare feed it more? Fen growled, fearful and angry. You're the true blight, the memory that won't let the forest heal. The figure's laughter was sharp as thorns. The memory is all that remains. Healing means forgetting, surrendering your crimes and your wounds. Will you erase what was done? Mara lifted her chin. We remember, and still we hope. The wound's memory should guide us, not bind us. Sonai left her human shape, the air around her swirling with animal grace and old sorrow. We offer not forgetfulness, but honest tending. We will not run from pain. Cricket, voice trembling but growing in song, added, let the sorrow have music, let the anger have form, then let roots grow through it. The entity shrieked, lashing roots and shadow. The party staggered. Mara caught a blow meant for Lyra, her sword splintering. Fen shielded Cricket, suffering cuts that bled golden light. Sonai changed form again and again, shielding her friends, howling as the darkness battered her will. Lyra staggered to her knees. The Heartvine's glow flickered as the blight entity seized her mind. Visions of human axes burning woods, screeches of old guardians lost. Despair clawed at her. "You can't change what's done," the blight whispered. "Give in. Let the wild consume. Let memory reign." But Lyra remembered every moment. Her friends risking themselves, their shared vow. She pressed the vine to her heart. "We do not forget. That's the price. We bear it and we give back." The pain surged, trying to shatter her resolve. But as she clung to the Heartvine, Fen's battered hand closed over hers, followed by Mara's, then Sonai's, and finally Cricket's tiny fingers. "Together," Fen grunted, blood on his brow. "We don't let go, not now." United, their voices rose in wild, defiant song, a new promise born of scars. The entity shrieked, form flickering, folding in on itself as the Heartvine pulsed light through all of them, binding past to future. The blight hissed one last time, shrinking to a single bruised seed, its form finally surrendering, not in erasure but in acceptance. The wound in the realm quivered and began slowly to grow closed, roots cradling the scar. But they were not finished. The old blight seed was still there, dangerous and unresolved. Lyra knew what they faced next would be the final test, to carry the scarred seed out and offer it honest shelter in the waking world of Gildenwood. Only then could true balance return. They braced, battered but hopeful, as the shifting world spun towards dawn, the last trial before their journey's end barreling toward them. The shifting world of tangled roots and wild memories faded, and with a shock like surfacing from cold water, Lyra and her companions stumbled back into the morning light of Gildenwood's edge. The wound was gone, replaced by a scar, a circle of peaceful, quiet earth where the Heartvine flowered, and in Lyra's hand the bruised seed of the old blight pulsed with restless magic. Exhaustion pressed at Lyra, but determination burned brighter. Fen slumped beside her, arm around a limping Cricket. Mara stitched a makeshift bandage with tough resin leaves, and Sonai's wild shapes flickered in the soft dawn. The land felt changed, not fully healed but promising. They stood at the border where villagers, guards, and the wary eyes of Gildenwood's council watched, the entire kingdom frozen between fear and hope. Lyra's arm trembled as the sigil on her palm flickered, the Heartvine's glow guiding her steps toward the anxious crowd. Captain Mara steadied her. "Now or never." Lyra nodded, raising the seed high. "This," her voice rang over hushed onlookers, "is what remains of our wound. Not evil, not forgotten. It's a memory we must carry if we are to live alongside wild magic." A murmur grew among the council. Lord Renver, skeptical and proud, challenged, "Why should we trust that this thing won't destroy us the moment we turn away?" Sonai stepped forward, shifting gently toward her wolfish form, voice low and clear. "Because you will not be alone in tending it. The old ways were lost, but new bonds can grow. A promise kept by all, not just a few." Cricket fluttered around the seed, singing a tremulous note. Villagers wept. Even the plants at the edge of the forest seemed to bend closer, listening. Fen, battered but unbowed, added, "We can't erase what's been done, but together, human and wild, thief and exile, warrior and sprite, we can choose what comes next." Lyra knelt, planting the scarred seed in the heart of the scarred earth. The Heartvine twined around it, and she pressed her glowing palm to the soil. Magic shimmered, a surge of hope, sorrow, and promise, rolling across the clearing. Roots connected, spirits sighed, and wildflowers, once lost, unfurled anew. As dawn broke fully, the first guardian rose from the roots. Centuries of sadness gentled in its eyes. It bowed to Lyra and the others, then to the assembled people of Gildenwood. "The old pact ended in fire," the guardian intoned. "Let the new one be rooted in truth and care." The villagers approached slowly, trembling, but they brought water, gentle words, and a cautious reverence. Lyra rose to her feet, her burdens shared now. She knew the kingdom's wounds would not disappear in one day. But hope, true, wild, and undaunted, had been planted for the first time in centuries. Her friends stood by her side, each changed by the journey. Mara with new humility, Fen with honest pride, Sonai at peace with her shapes, and Cricket's song ringing out to the green morning. Together with all of Gildenwood, they tended the new sigil, a living memory to guide future pacts. And at the forest's edge, under roots and rising sun, the old magic watched, no longer with anger, but with the wary, blossoming hope that comes only after a wound has truly been acknowledged and given space to heal.